What is it that every song on the radio has? I'm gonna give you a hint. It starts... I have no idea what that boom was. I hope everybody's okay. I'm gonna give you a hint. It starts with a V. You got it yet? That's right. It's vibes. And how do you get good vibes? Vocals. The first step into getting vocals on your song is recording. And that's what I'm going to be teaching you today. What's up, geniuses? My name's Idro Rivera, and welcome back to the channel where you learn to show your genius. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use FL Studio 20 to record vocals. Now let's get something straight. If you want a really good song, recording vocals is not the end-all be-all. You need to know how to mix properly, because if you don't know how to mix, your vocal is just going to be a dry vocal over a beat. I have a full vocal mixing tutorial that you have to watch after this video, and if you want to, make sure you click the icon up there. That way you can know how to make your song sound more professional. Now before we get into the video, I gotta show you guys something. Welcome back to the wall. Don't look at my feet. As you can tell, there is no silver play button on this wall. This blank spot is exactly where a silver play button should be. However, do we have a silver play button? No. So what you guys need to do is you need to subscribe. Why should you subscribe? Because I post new tutorials every Friday, and every Tuesday I document my journey to 100,000 subscribers. These documentaries are a lot more serious of topics. I talk more from an entrepreneurial perspective on all this stuff. So if you're planning on being your own independent artist / content creator on YouTube, feel free to check that video out. I document my journey to 100,000 subscribers in order for you guys to learn from my mistakes as well as my successes. So icon, click it. You'll go to the series where you can see all the episodes that we've done so far. So make sure you subscribe. Don't want this spot to be blank for too long. So first things first, what we gotta go over is hardware. If you're trying to record vocals, you have to have some sort of hardware to record them with. So I'm gonna give you my 2 cents on good hardware. First things first, you're gonna need a mic. Now when it comes to getting microphones, there's 2 different types of microphones that you could be looking at. There's condenser microphones and dynamic microphones. A condenser microphone is probably what you're gonna see most people capturing audio with, because they're a little more sensitive, so when it comes to vocal recording in a studio setting, it's really nice. Dynamic microphones are better for louder instruments like drums, or maybe you got a really loud amp playing out of a guitar, or a guitar playing out of a loud amp. I mean, dynamic microphones are more meant for those situations that are louder. They're also meant more for live sessions, so if you're going out to a concert and you're planning on performing live, it's a good option for you. However, I use a dynamic microphone to record my vocals, and I think they sound just fine. You can be the judge of that. I'll play you a little bit of my newest song to see what you think.
Baby, you call me, you told me you want me, you know that I want you, cause you look so good when I'm with you. Just a bowl looking for a spoon, you're the sun that makes my blossoms bloom.
It's really just preference, but I think most people will agree that condenser microphones have a little more shimmer to them, a little more shine in a sense that can make your voice stand out a little more. So if you want more clarity, go for a condenser microphone, but it's not the end of the world if you have a dynamic microphone. I use a dynamic microphone for everything, and I kind of prefer it because the previous condenser microphone that I used to have, which was the Blue Yeti, it was very sensitive to a lot of noise, and if I had to belt a certain note when recording vocals, it would get distorted a lot of the time, which didn't sound good at all. So having this dynamic microphone really helps because I get to change the gain very low, and it's well suited for loud noises. And I use it for all sorts of things, not just vocals. I use it for guitar recordings as well, for these videos. So I guess you could say it's really dynamic. Now, if you've been looking around for microphones, you might notice that there's USB and XLR microphones. So what exactly should you get? USB or XLR? I've had both previously. Like I said, the Blue Yeti was a USB microphone that I used, and it was pretty good, but the one I use now is the Shure SM58, and that one's an XLR microphone. I would say that USB mics are great for on-the-go recording. If you're a laptop user and you like to have a portable setup, a USB microphone is going to be easy to take along with you because you don't need anything like an audio interface to connect it to your computer. You can literally just plug and play and you're good to go. And most of the time you'll probably find that USB microphones aren't cheaper than XLR microphones, but the fact that you don't have to buy an audio interface saves you some money in the end. By the way, I have a video all about my portable studio setup, so if you want to check that out, click the icon up here. It's a good video. Now, like I said, XLR microphones are going to require you to have some sort of extra gear. It's most of the time going to be an audio interface. I use the Scarlett 2i2. It's a great audio interface and it has 2 inputs, so I could be using 2 XLR microphones at the same time, but I could also put in 1/4-inch jacks if I have an amp that I want to plug in, or guitar that I want to plug in. Audio interfaces have their own benefits by giving you a live feedback of what's being recorded. They also allow you to plug in monitors and headphones that can be controlled separately. Plus they can come with phantom power, so if you have a microphone that requires some phantom power, then that'll give you some extra boost of power there. Personally, I prefer XLR because I have a little bit more control over my microphone, so I can set the gain to a certain point that I like. But also, if I ever want to get a new microphone, my audio interface is ready for whatever I have to throw at it. If I get a microphone that requires phantom power, boom, it's ready to go. Also, for the fact that I can connect multiple microphones at once, it's really great for things like podcasts if you plan to do that in the future. Let's say you're doing something with your friend as well. You're doing a little live performance that you want to put on YouTube, but you're recording it in your studio setup. You can have one input connected to a microphone that you're recording yourself on, but then your friend can have another input for their guitar that they're playing, so that you guys can do a live studio session together with great quality sound. But in terms of quality, USB and XLR are very similar. Some people are gonna be like, no, XLR is so much better. However, USB is advanced a lot in technology that you're not really gonna tell too much of a difference between a USB and an XLR microphone. What really matters is the hardware inside the microphone itself. So if it's a really crappy, cheap USB microphone, obviously it's not gonna sound good, but a cheap, crappy XLR compared to a really good USB, just cause it's XLR, doesn't mean that it's better. So like I said, the mic I use is the Shure SM58, and the audio interface I use for that is the Scarlett 2i2 by Focusrite, and it's really great. I love it a lot. I've had this set up for about 4 years now, so feel free to check this stuff out. I'm using it right now to record this video actually, and if you want to check it out, I have links in the description. They're Amazon affiliate links. I get a little kickback every time somebody uses them, but it's no extra charge to you, so it helps support the channel. And if you want, use those links to get these products. So now that you've got your mic, let's hop into FL Studio to see how you can start recording. All right, so setting up USB mics for recording in FL Studio is super easy actually. It's probably the simplest thing ever. So first things first, you wanna make sure that your USB mic is set as your default recording device on your computer. The only thing you gotta do is go into your sound, go into input, and make sure that your USB microphone is selected. This is what you gotta do on Windows. I don't know what you do for your Mac users, I'm sorry, losers. However, if you're on Windows, the only thing you gotta do is just go to your input on your sound device and select the USB microphone that you have. So once you have that, literally all you gotta do is go to your mixer and select an empty mixer channel, and then what you gotta do is change the input. Now this is gonna be different depending on if your mic is stereo or mono. If your mic is stereo, like the Blue Yeti is, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on that, then select in 1-2, and you can hear me double. I want to make sure that you don't hear me double. It's weird. So I'm going to click mute so you can't hear that. And basically this is going to give you stereo recording if that's what you're into. Now, I don't have a USB mic connected right now, so that's why it's only coming out of one ear. But if you want stereo recording, make sure you select in 1-in 2 if you have a mic that's capable of stereo recording. If not, what you're gonna wanna do is select in 1. Sometimes you might have to select in 2, but usually it's gonna just be in 1. And that'll give you the mono recording. Even if you have stereo, it's gonna make it mono so that it's always in front of you. Because if you don't know, stereo can be like all over the place in your ears if you're wearing headphones, if that makes sense. But mono is just directly in front. So if your mic is mono, make sure to only select in 1 or in 2, or else you're gonna get a $100 fine by FL Studio. They're gonna come to your house and steal your computer. And another reason why you don't wanna do that is because you're gonna hear it only on one side of your ear. So now that we have that down for USB microphones, how do we set up our audio interface, aka XLR microphones, for recording in FL Studio? So first things first, we're gonna do the same thing as last time. We're gonna make sure our input is set to our audio interface. You can see I have it set to the Scarlett 2i2. That's what I'm using right now to record this video. And once you have that set, all you gotta do is go to FL Studio, click Options, go to Audio Settings, and then on Device, select Speakers, aka the Scarlett 2i2. Now you don't have to do that, but if you find problems with the FL Studio ASIO and you're not getting any sort of recording, you're probably gonna wanna go to your audio interface and select that as your sound device. Next, it's literally the same thing as we did last time. We're gonna go to our mixer, click in, and we could do in 1-in 2. If we select in 1-in 2, you can see that right here, it's only showing the recording on the left channel. The reason why is because on our audio interface, we have 2 inputs. This microphone is in input 1, and because there's only one microphone, input 1 is coming on the left side. If we had another microphone connected to input 2, it would go on the right side, then we would have stereo recording, except it would be from 2 different microphones, which that is really cool, really useful if you want to do that. However, because we only have one microphone, we're going to be using in 1. That's going to be taking the audio from the first input of our audio interface. But if we had something in the second input, like a guitar, we could select in 2, and it would be taking it from the second input. So that's really cool, and I tend to use that a lot when I have guitars hooked up so that I can record my vocals on one mixer channel and maybe a guitar or something else on the second mixer channel. So now that we have our device set up, how do we actually start recording? It's very simple. All you gotta do is go to the recording button, click it, and then select audio into the playlist as an audio clip. You can also click audio into the Edison audio editor / recorder, but I like to just do it directly into the playlist because I really don't edit in Edison. It's an extra step that I don't think you need to take unless you really like Edison. Another thing you want to make sure is that the mixer channel that you have your microphone set to is selected when you click that record button, or else it's going to not detect the microphone. So once everything is good to go, you click this button, audio into the playlist as an audio clip, and then it's going to start recording. If you have this ticked, the countdown before recording, you're going to hear a countdown of 4 clicks, and then it's going to start recording. If you turn this off, it's just going to record right when you click that button. Now, as you can hear, there's a delay. Oh my gosh, it's hard to talk when I hear myself. You can hear there's a delay when I speak. When you are recording your vocals, that might mess you up. So something that you might want to do, this is going to feel weird. Oh my gosh. You're going to want to go down to the send channel down here and unlink it to the master channel. Sounds so much better. Now you won't be able to hear the recording, but it'll still record regardless of if you can hear it or not. So let's say you click the button and click record. We're going to be recording now, and like, you do your singing, right? You can see right here, it's still recording. However, we can't hear it back. So this is actually going to help us when recording our vocals because we are not getting distracted by hearing ourselves again. And then if we play back and like, you do your singing, right? Sounds good. Alright, so before we end off this video, I want to give you guys a couple of recording tips to make your recording sound a little nicer. That's all done in the microphone. So first things first, I would recommend standing up when recording. This is going to provide you with better airflow so that you have a more supported sound when you're singing or rapping. If you're sitting on a chair like how I am right now, and I am in all my videos, you're hunched over a little bit and your breath support isn't the greatest. Your breath support is always the best when you're standing up straight, even sitting up straight, but standing up is a lot better because you're not sitting down, hunching over or anything like that. Standing up straight, recording into your microphone is going to give you the best supported breath and therefore the most powerful vocals that you could possibly get out of your own performance. Another thing you're going to want to do is step back about a foot from your microphone. Being too close to your microphone can result in a boomy sound of your voice. It's like a radio sound, or like podcasts that you listen to. You hear those people with really boomy voices all the time. It sounds great for those types of recordings, but we're doing this in a studio setting where you're recording vocals for a song. So you don't want to be so close that your voice gets to that really rich sound. You want to have enough space so that your voice sounds as natural as possible, because that's what you're trying to do with your vocals on a song. This is called the proximity effect. The closer you get to your microphone, the more boomier it's going to be. The more distance there is, the more thinner it's going to sound in a sense. Another thing you're going to want to do is drink a lot of water so your mouth is not dry. A dry mouth will leave an audible saliva sound that doesn't sound pleasant when you're recording. Trust me, a lot of times I'm recording with a dry mouth and I get a lot of vocals that sound like. A dry mouth is going to result in all that saliva sound because your mouth is trying to not be dry. So it's going to produce more saliva and make those clicky sounds. So make sure you drink a lot of water so your mouth isn't dry. Also, when using your microphone, don't set the gain too high. Audio that clips or distorts is really hard to work with and most of the time is not recoverable. So make sure that you set the gain to the right amount so that it never clips and that you're good to go all the time. Usually what people do is that they set their gain so that when they're speaking, they never go above 9 decibels. It usually lays within the 12 to 9 decibel range. That gives you a lot of headroom to work with, so you can do really well in your mixing components, which, like I said, if you want to learn how to mix your vocals better, Icon, check that video out. It's really great. So this is how you use FL Studio to record your vocals. I really hope that this helped you guys out because it's not super hard, but I also think that recording vocals is a lot more than just plug and play into FL Studio, which is why I shared a little bit more information about microphones and some tips. Let me know what microphone you have in the comments below. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe. We need to reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. Can we do it? It's up to you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay safe out there. Eat a lot of oranges, but most importantly, don't be afraid to show your genius.
Baby, you call me, you tell me you're lonely. You know that I get you, but I've been so cooped up in my room, quarantine, gazing at the moon, asking the stars if I'll see you soon.